Lewis.
A dark suit, white shirt, blue tie, and small flag painted Senator Joe Biden as a power politician. Governor Palin power rocked a black skirt suit, dark blouse, and American flag pin with rhinestones. Both contestants came center stage for the traditional handshake and a smile.
Nice to meet you. Hey, can I call you Joe?
14 million. Increasing.
Then they came out zinging.
I call that the ultimate bridge to nowhere.
Say it ain't so, Joe. There you go again, pointing backwards again.
There were seething and teething expressions of fuming outrage and angry gestures of vehement disagreement. So, for just a moment, let's put aside what they said and put up front their facial expressions, their pointed gestures, and their style of battle dress. Now let's find out what those signals really mean.
Well, back from yesterday, our esteemed panel, style expert and former model, Veronica Webb.
Also the author of The Power of Body Language expert Tonya Reiman, very popular with the gentlemen out there, and the author of How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less, Nicholas Boothman.
It's great to have wrestling fans in the audience.
You know you're going to get some power, some energy.
Veronica, let's start with you. Last night, Sarah Palin walks out. How does she score on style?
Well, you know, I would have to say it was 50-50. She walked out in that black suit. I was hoping for color. It really peps you up. It's friendly. The black suit looked like a funeral. And then it was too tight, which stripped her of all her authority, I thought.
Huh. You guys agree with that?
Oh, they're talking about this morning. I love it. Yeah, the boys don't agree with me.
Big, tough men talking about style.
You were very critical of her hair in the past, the kind of the poofy, bouffant sort of big hair. What did you think of it last night?
You know, well, we have 3 examples here, and you can see how it went from, you know, B-52s to Jackie O. And last night, I thought her hair looked really good. And once she got behind the podium, I thought she looked great. You know, the suit sat well, it fit well. You know, like we say on 7th Avenue, the money's in the shoulders. I think the thing that's going to appear to be her Achilles heel, because they talked about this in the debate, are those bangs. Did you see how she's batting her eyes all night long like a little bobblehead doll? And at one point, I think, I don't know, was her hair in her eyes or did she actually wink?
Yeah. Oh, she winked. So, Tonya Reiman, that's where you come in, my dear.
Yeah, you can get to that.
Before we get to that, though, let's take a look at their greeting.
Okay.
When they saw each other for the first time.
Nice to meet you. Hey, can I call you Joe? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you. Thank you.
Tonya, we talked about this yesterday. Should they go for the double clasp?
Yes.
And they did.
They did. Well, you know, I think they were actually going in undecided if there should be a kiss because they got very close. And then it was like, no, let's just make it a handshake. What was interesting, though, is Sarah Palin left one leg behind. And when you leave one leg behind like that, you're really not that into it. If you watch from the, see the leg is back. Joe is standing, both legs are together. Her one leg is behind. That tells me she's really not really with that handshake.
How'd you like the line? Can I call you Joe?
Yeah, well, of course.
Say it in full, Joe.
Yeah, we were talking about that, trying to take control of the situation. But what was interesting is Joe didn't let go of her hand. He's holding onto her hand, shaking. He's got one arm, and what is she doing? She's already disengaging and starting a conversation with someone else.
Does that mean she's nervous, or does that mean she doesn't like him?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think she was nervous when it gets started, but it was very rude.
Okay, well, right off the top, you saw, she seemed a bit, tough audience, tough crowd here. She seemed a bit nervous off the top, but then, I mean, within a couple of minutes, we were talking about this. Man, she was just like on fuego, fire.
But there were great moments and bad moments.
Absolutely.
So, of course, on this show, let's go with the bad first.
Okay.
Where were some of her bad moments? Where, for Joe, were his bad moments?
Well, her bad moments, when you look at her body language, some of the things she does, she has this pasted-on smile. Look at this smile. And it never leaves her face. And when you see that smile, you know it's a masked emotion. So those are the things I look for. If it's not a genuine emotion, it's going to stay on your face. If it is, it's going to flash away. So the smile was there the whole time, and that comes across as very phony.
Okay.
How about Joe Biden?
Joe Biden, I thought the only thing he did was touch his face a lot. I mean, that gives people an insecure
What's going on here?
Yeah, when you see someone touch their face that much, you start to wonder what's going on. The poor man, look at this.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, now, what does that that mean?
Yeah, well, that's a sign. It makes people not trust you that much because usually when you're touching your face a lot, it indicates, that it might be slightly deceptive. However, in this case, I think it's nerves. What happens when we get nervous? Little capillaries expand and our face gets itchy.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, I have a feeling that's more what it was.
Well, she was winking a lot.
Yes, yeah.
As Veronica said.
But, you know, for her, that came across as very powerful. When you wink like that, you're saying, oh, we have a secret. We're sharing a secret. So it came across as powerful.
Wink away.
Yeah, wink away.
With the ingenuity and the work ethic that is just entrenched in our workforce. That's a positive, that's encouragement, and that's what John McCain meant.
Oh, no, that was a full-on wink.
Yeah.
That was some serious winkage.
And she did that 3 times.
All right, so Nicholas, you're the master of first impressions. Now, we've seen her, but this was a first impression, I think, for a lot of people, and then maybe they haven't watched her debate, or, you know, or talked, or orate. What's your impression of her last night?
Well, she obviously has a very big personality, and it comes through. And it does allow her to do what we call misdirection, which is just a technique that magicians use. You know, it's here, it's there, it's here, it's there, the rabbit's over here now. So she was very good at steering the conversation where she felt comfortable.
That's for sure.
She was blatant about it. I'm not going to answer the question you're asking me. I'm just going to go on completely different.
That's media training. It's called bridging. You know, I say 1 or 2 words about what I've been asked, then I leap over the bridge to what I feel comfortable talking about.
We'll talk about that a little bit later, too. But, you know, Tonya, Senator Biden had his strong moments, too.
Sure, absolutely he did. When we watch the clip, there's one point where he's talking about, you know, ending the war.
Ending the war.
Yes.
Okay, listen.
We will end this war. For John McCain, there is no end in sight to end this war. Fundamental difference. We will end this war.
That was strong, wasn't it?
Yeah. Whenever you put your hands out like this, what you're doing is, hey, I'm authoritative here. So he's saying, we're going to end this war, and then he finishes off with a down finger point, which is also a power point. It's an aggressive statement, but he was pointing down towards the podium, so it comes across as power, not
How much
dominance.
of all of this is media training, and how much of it is organic, you know, just part of who they are? What do you think?
Well, I think most of the body language that leaks out is genuine. Some of the things that we talk about, they do it purposely. Like, for instance, you know, the winking. I think that was done purposely to kind of bind the community.
Nick, you think so, too?
Yeah, I think, she did everything right. I said yesterday, she's the poster girl for first impressions. She does everything right.
You know,
it comes to
almost toward the end, there are about 5 minutes left, Senator Biden got a little choked up. Remember this?
The notion that somehow, because I'm a man, I don't know what it's like to raise 2 kids alone. I don't know what it's like to have a child you're not sure is going to make it. I understand.
You know, I thought that was a really interesting moment because the person that you're against has a very emotional moment, and you still see that pasted-on smile. There was no acknowledgement of the grief he experienced for that fleeting.
That would have been a nice touch.
Yeah, for her to look up and have met his eyes at that moment, that would have been powerful.
Did you like the, you know, the say it ain't so, Joe, and that kind of stuff? Was that?
Of course. I mean, look, the bottom line is people like themselves. It's the #1 rule of face-to-face communication.
Yeah.
She gets across a lot of what we call Me Too moments. You know, I'm a hockey mom, and 20 million people go, me too.
Let's listen to that again.
Sure.
That was good stuff. Here she is.
Six-pack hockey moms across the nation. I think we need to band together and say it ain't so, Joe. There you go again, pointing backwards again. Oh, man, it's so obvious that I'm a Washington outsider and someone just not used to the way you guys operate.
Oh, man.
That work?
Of course it works. It's pure magic, absolutely. But look, she is more emotional and rational. He is more rational and emotional. He connects easily with rational people. She connects with emotional people. But the great truth of the world is that 80% of the time, people have no clue why they do anything. They'd make their decisions based on their emotions.
Boy, that's for sure. I wish
that.
Gwen Ifill, the moderator, she was involved in her own controversy. People thought she was going to be biased. She should have fired harder questions at him, challenged both candidates a little bit more, but that's another topic. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, guys.